Why does marketing exist? Really, try to think about it and ask yourself, what is the actual point of making a commercial or trailer or anything like that? Did you say to sell things? Wrong. But right. But also wrong. Marketing exists in order to have you thinking about something. It needs to worm its way into your head, take up real estate. It doesn't really matter what you think of it. You just need to be thinking of it. I think you can begin to see where we're going with this. On February 26th, 2025, Dreamworks Studios released a 27-second cast announcement teaser for the new Shrek film, Shrek 5. Yes, that's right, 27 seconds. And as the internet is often to be, all it took was that 27 seconds to become a raucous uproar similar in proportion to the kind of outrage that is created at the declaration of war. 27 seconds is all it took for people to go up in arms against this new film, for it to worm its way into the zeitgeist of internet discussion for a handful of days. Some are furious, some are staunchly defending it, but everyone seems to have an opinion. Personally, I think it's genius. Have you ever heard of the term engagement bait? It's a specific type of internet content created with the sole purpose to elicit some kind of major response. The point of it isn't the substance of whatever is being said, but the reaction that it garners. I'm assuming that most of you are at least vaguely aware of what the term means at this point, because it's been being thrown around more and more, and if I'm being honest, I feel like it's also just been appearing more and more throughout the last few years. We are entering an age of the internet where attention is becoming the hot commodity. Everyone probably already has had their personal information sucked up and sold by someone. The main thing that they want is your full and focused attention. I mean, just take a quick look at the rise of short-form content, for example. TikTok is probably the first example that comes to your mind, but you also have things like Instagram Reels, Twitter, which is just endless scrolling from one small post to the next, Reddit, which is also scrolling from one small post to the next, Threads is trying to get into the Twitter niche, instead owned by Mark Zuckerberg instead of Elon Musk, which is better in some ways. YouTube has picked up Shorts, and even Facebook has Reels now to hook the attention span of the older generations. I mean, people are so hooked that when TikTok threatened to disappear for like one day, RedNote became the #1 app on the App Store, and it isn't even a primarily English-supported app. I'm not here to comment on the nature of addiction when it comes to screens or something, but like, come on, the evidence makes the conclusion self-evident. Regardless, engagement bait is a widely used tactic nowadays. The biggest thing with it is the fact that the attention doesn't have to be good, and more often than not, bad attention is the easiest way to get it. For example, just imagine posting something online like, "Wedlock is designed to control the peasantry. Kings must reproduce at any cost." Like, that'd be crazy, right? Absolutely insane. I mean, you would get so many different people yelling at you in the comments of whatever you posted it in. Like, that's a bona fide engagement farm right there. If you're not getting the hint by now, that's an Andrew Tate post. I'll talk about that psycho a little bit later in the video. The Shrek 5 trailer is somewhat similar to that, in a very specific kind of way. I don't mean in the misogyny department, or in the animation department, as people would be thinking. I seriously think that the animation is just the animators at DreamWorks being given a chance to spread their wings, per se. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish did amazingly well, and the animation is one of the things most praised in the movie. I think the new Shrek animation exists to match that slightly more cartoony style created in The Last Wish. The final scene in The Last Wish also confirmed that we were going to see those characters in Shrek 5, so it makes sense that they update the animation to match. Now, I can already hear you complaining in the comments about the fact that Shrek appeared in The Last Wish for a split second, along with in the DreamWorks intro bumper shown at the beginning of all the movies that have come out recently, and those were animated within a reasonable time frame. The thing is, the models that both of these pieces of animation use are significantly lower resolution than what is to be expected of a feature-length film with them as the main characters, so new models probably had to be made anyways. From what sources I can find, it seems that production really began on Shrek 5 in 2023, so they would already be riding off the positive reception that The Last Wish got, which was released in 2022, so that style would translate into the new Shrek movie. If I'm really going to throw my 2 cents into the ring, which I will, because this is my video, I think the animation looks fine. The models are slightly different, sure, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. They're all still really easily recognizable as the main Shrek cast, and the models look good. You're actually delusional if you think that it looks bad. The Last Wish is the direction that the film is going to go for in animation, and that realistic kind of style doesn't really work anymore because Shrek no longer exists as a response to Disney films. It's become a massive franchise, and the only way they can keep going is to change up the angle from which they approach making the movie. Sorry, I got stuck on a little side tangent there. We'll loop back around to that. Now, what did my engagement bait talk have to do with Shrek if I don't think the animation is bait? Well, it's the comedy used in the trailer. When watching it, something felt a little bit off to me, to be honest. Making jokes about TikTok in such an obviously unfunny way from a studio that obviously has good writers on it, writers who made The Last Wish, which is a hilarious movie. Like, come on, the marketing department from that studio can't be that stupid, right? Maybe, maybe not. There are three categories of marketing I want to look at real quick. They are completely arbitrary and made up by me for the sake of this video, and many, many others exist, but we have three here that are most important for the talking points I'm going over. The first one I want to discuss is just straight up good marketing that does a good job of portraying whatever it is trying to sell. This is the hardest type of marketing by a long shot. The best chances you have of pulling something off by this is by focusing on a niche, and really matching what that kind of niche wants to see. This is a really difficult thing to do, because more often than not, you get this kind of painful relatability thing that feels like an undercover cop is standing next to you at a concert in a tie-dyed t-shirt asking for a dab of that good shit. Like, come on dude, you're 50 and you hold yourself like a literal brick wall. The epitome of this is any corporation trying to post memes of any kind, or literally anything the current richest man in the world is doing right now. Yes, I will take any opportunity to dunk on Elon Musk, especially because I know that he does not bait things. He just genuinely posts what he thinks is smart and relatable and funny, and then gets very, very butthurt when people call him out on it. Elon, I am begging you, please watch this video just so I can say to your face that I hate you and you are possibly the most embarrassing and least funny person alive on this planet. And the only people who like you are other sad, sad people that are hoping to somehow get their hands on your money. Anyways, good marketing is hard. Occasionally, and rarely, you get a breakout of some small business or something that just kind of gets it. I mean, take a look at the company Item Label as a prime example in my mind. Strange and weird satire of corporations balanced with interesting music videos and products that are just kind of neat and strange. I own a PP and Molly myself, and I know that they're junk and overpriced, and yet the marketing got me. It's engrossing. I cannot describe how it works, because things like this are lightning in a bottle. I can't instantly think of examples myself, but you guys probably have some of your own that you can think of that are other good examples of marketing. A pretty solid through line that all good marketing companies have is an honest understanding of their audience, and a smaller business that can hold onto that perspective without tainting it with the opinions of executives, shareholders, and CEOs, which we all know do not have functioning minds like normal people do. Their humor and emotions more similar to that of insects rather than mammalian creatures. So, good marketing, hard. Very hard. 99% of people cannot do it. So what do you do if that doesn't work? Easy. You make a train wreck. Engagement bait intentionally designed to upset people. It worms its way into your head, and the more eyes on you, the more likely it is that someone is going to buy something. We can loop back to Andrew Tate here, because despite the fact that yes, he is a human being and not a company, do not be deluded. Every single thing that he does is marketing of some kind. I'm not going to give any genuine props to Andrew Tate here. He is an honest-to-God criminal and a major piece of shit. But he's also a phenomenal engagement baiter. Andrew Tate does not believe a word of what comes out of his own mouth. None of it. Maybe some of the misogynistic things, sure. I'm not going to argue that maybe he's secretly a good guy under all of this, like, of course he's a scumbag, but he's not that dumb. He knows what he's saying is ridiculous and often contradictory. He is just trying to be as mean as possible to get people arguing in the comments of whatever his post is. You can't hurt him with a well-thought-out response or a breakdown on why he's wrong or contradictory. You're not going to get the literal convicted sex trafficker under a gotcha or a breakdown of whatever specific fallacy he's employing and whatever insane thing he just posted. He does not care. What he is trying to do is to turn you into something he can ignore in order to build on his persona. There is a very specific brand of person, perhaps someone who does not have very many friends, or in one way or another has an enormous desire to become a big dick moneybags kind of guy. I don't really know. I'm not here to go into the psychology of why incels are like how they are. But these people adore types like Andrew Tate. And the thing that they really adore more than anything is him rebelling against the man. There's this constant proliferation of the Matrix as a concept that all these grifters refer to, because it works for the audience they're really trying to hook. When you respond to an Andrew Tate post, you become part of his bait for the real fish. These losers, seeing him say all these crazy things and then seeing everyone hate him for it, just drags them further into his grasp and makes them more and more likely to buy his stuff. You see this with a lot of different kinds of grifters. Tate started it, but it exists with Elon fans as well, along with basically any Twitter account that has a statue of the profile picture. Just these kinds of people who go on and on and on about how they're rebelling against the status quo, when in reality they are the status quo. That's just one kind of negative attention, and it's a very powerful kind. Another kind is the curiosity or hate buy kind. Nikocado Avocado fits within the hatred curiosity kind. If you're not caught up, Nikocado Avocado is a mukbang YouTuber who put on this character for years, starting out as a vegan, but then going into some seriously unhealthy eating habits and gaining a bunch of weight. The whole time during this, people were watching to see what's going to happen. They all believed that he was just this crazy guy who was losing it. No one really liked the guy or his content, but it was entertaining to see this train wreck of a man's life unfold. Was he going to cry on the camera this time? Shit his pants? It's basically reality television, but he was allegedly real, which I'll get into in a second. You could tune in to just about every few days to see what crazy shit he was getting into, and it was basically all bad. He was destroying his life, but you can't help but watch. Everyone slows down to look at the car accident, and watching him made him money, since YouTube pays out ad revenue, and I don't doubt that a good amount of people ironically bought his merch. You see another kind of this hate-watching example with the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight. It had 108 million viewers. There's not 108 million boxing fans in the entire world. Boxing is a sport, not an actual fight. They don't do it to beat up the person they don't like, but that's what this fight was. Everyone wanted to see the guy they don't like get beat up. And through that hatred, you put $40 million in his pocket. I mean, I fell for the bait on that one too. I watched it. I wanted to see Jake Paul get his ass beat because he's annoying. I fell for the trap because even if I have the knowledge of what this stuff is going to be, I'm not immune to it. No one is. You're not immune to propaganda. Another train wreck people are curious about that probably fits best in line with this Shrek 5 trailer example is the new Minecraft movie trailers. They look bad. Really bad. The lines are unfunny, the writing is bad, the animation looks weird, all that good stuff. But people are engrossed. It looks like just the right kind of bad, to the fact that I'm not going to be surprised if it gets like a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, but still somehow grosses $750 million or some ridiculous shit like that in the box office. People can't help but to look at an explosion. The third kind of marketing is the ambiguous kind. The line that makes you wonder whether or not this is going to turn out good or bad, and the kind of hope or optimism that it's going to eventually turn itself around. People love a train wreck, but they like a redemption or underdog story even more. Almost all of my last examples have some aspects of this, and it's really one of the best ways to keep attention on you. Eventually, being hated gets old. Everyone knows you're an asshole and just wants to leave you alone. But doing a face turn is all that it takes to pull them back in. Occasionally, Andrew Tate will post something that is actually like a moderate and not insane opinion. He'll say something that's vaguely pro-trans if you look at it in a certain way, or mention that if he had a gay son, he would still care about him, or do something, talk about how charity is super important to those who have money. It's still in his weird, like, kind of ape-brain way of talking, and it's quite rare, but it exists. Once again, though, it's not something he actually believes. Well, maybe it's wrong to say that he doesn't believe in it. What would be more accurate to say is he just doesn't care. It means nothing to him. It's just another thing he knows he can put out there to make people react to him. With some leftists on Twitter posting something about how Andrew Tate is actually right for once, broken clock, correct twice a day, blah 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 blah. It's just another way to grab attention. Nikocado Avocado did it too in a really, really big way, revealing that the entire character was a bit from the very beginning, with him losing all the weight behind the scenes over the course of like 2 years and revealing it just as people stopped caring about the train wreck that was going on in his life. Which, by the way, I will say, I 100 predicted that years before it happened. I remember specifically having a conversation with friends, saying that I think the whole thing is just a bit, and someday he's going to turn it around and become a health guru or something and lose all the weight. He hasn't done the health guru thing yet, but I was still 90% of the way there. As I was saying, though, it worked. A switch up of the narrative to draw the attention back to him. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson had a whole through line with that. We all hated Jake Paul and wanted to see Mike Tyson beat him. A kind of optimism running through a bleak proposition. There was still a chance of it ending well. Did anyone notice that the Minecraft movie trailers are getting better as they go on, too? The first one was super hated, but as they went on, more and more of them were released. I've noticed that the perception of this movie went from, this is absolutely vile dog shit, to, this actually might be pretty funny, bad or not. Heck, it might even be okay in a campy kind of way. People naturally want things to go well, to be pleasantly surprised. There's a reason why the plot structure of almost all stories made up by humanity go from strife to victory. So, the Shrek 5 teaser. I think you can all see what I'm going to say about it. The animation, yeah, whatever. Not important to this. And I do think the creators are slightly shocked by the negative reception of it. I mean, Shrek has essentially hit Simpsons status as a film series, originally being a parody of Disney movies, and then entering the mainstream as kind of a baseline of inspiration for what animated films could be. Shrek cannot be what it was before. It's impossible. The past holds no love for Shrek. It's just a memory of what it was culturally before. You cannot create reactionary content based on things that people are already reacting to. So, it has to change in order to survive. They had a pretty good example for what a modern Shrek universe movie could look like with Puss in Boots and The Last Wish, though. So, I think that's what they're going to go after. But, now what's a good way to get people interested and invested in a new Shrek movie? I mean, it's almost been 15 years since Shrek came out. The only way that Shrek exists in the public mind right now is through nostalgia-tinted goggles and memes. Shrek has been the butt of everyone's jokes for years and years now. I mean, Shrek has gone through unironic enjoyment as just a solid movie series when it first released, then to ironic enjoyment in the MLG and gamer memes era, to nostalgic remembrance for how good the movies were a few years ago, and now even that's faded. I scour the internet, as I am often to do while writing these videos, and the r/Shrek subreddit has been dead for quite a while now. All of the activity recently? People complaining about the new trailer. The new trailer did a really fucking good job of getting people talking about Shrek again. I mean, come on. Don't think that Dreamworks is that dumb. This teaser was specifically created to be a teaser. I really doubt it's even going to be in the movie. It was 27 seconds long, and in those 27 seconds, all it did was make one unfunny TikTok joke. Just one joke, and it was a bad one. The people making these movies cannot be that dumb. I really, really, really hope that they're not that dumb. Maybe I'm wrong about this entire video, and the trailer was completely unironically made by a team that does not understand what marketing is supposed to be, despite the many, 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 many examples of how not to be relatable to anyone. And the lesson that these different advertising examples taught was that making a trailer like this one is a very good way to get people angry at you. The optimist in me, or maybe the pragmatist, does not think that's what happened. I think that they knew it wasn't going to be funny. I think they knew that posting this trailer was going to have people up in arms, and that it was going to have people going on and on and on about how the old Shrek films were good, and how this one is going to be bad, and all that dramatic rambling the internet is prone to doing. The thing is, though, no one is going to care what a 27-second teaser said when the film actually comes out. What this teaser is going to do, though, is have people thinking about the movie. I mean, what could a Shrek teaser really do to get people interested? Go back and watch the Last Wishes trailer. It's not great, kind of corny and formulaic. It didn't get a ton of attention, and it didn't really clue people into what the movie was actually going to be. If they're going to make a movie similar to that, to The Last Wish, a movie focused on crisp satire and a strong thematic core, it's going to be a bit difficult to pull off what actually are the strong points of the movie into a trailer. And putting a trailer out that's just mediocre is the worst thing you could do to market a movie. You can be good, and you can be bad, but please, dear God, do not be boring. Cast teaser was designed to be inflammatory, and it does a really good job of that. I'm optimistic. I think that the movie is still going to be good. I don't see how they could screw it up without just a complete and total fumble after The Last Wish. Puss in Boots worked, and it worked really well. The same people still work in that studio. They can do it. They've done it before. Trailers always make movies look worse than they are anyways. The main thing I just want you to take from this is not everything needs a response. I personally am not a fan of this kind of engagement baiting practice that has become more and more prevalent as we delve further into the 2020s. But if you are immediately going to arms about whatever tiny things you see online without having the full picture, you're proving that this stuff works. And I suppose it does. I mean, even I myself am a bit of a hypocrite here. I intentionally made the thumbnail to this video a bit inflammatory, while leaving the title kind of milder in comparison. Maybe it piqued your curiosity. I mean, you're here watching it right now if you've gotten this far. Well, here's the obligatory please like and subscribe. I plan to keep making videos like this, breaking down different games, movies, books, and cultural phenomena, and how it relates to the world we live in. About once or twice a month, so your subscription feed isn't going to be super overrun, and I really do like making this stuff and having people see it, so every view helps. Thank you so much for sticking around, and for the 53 people who saw the Squid Game video as of right now, yes, the Disco Elysium video is still coming. I forgot how long the game was, and replaying it is taking quite a bit of time. If you are not one of the 53 people who saw the Squid Game video, go watch it. I really like it, and I think it's kind of similar in theming and discussion to this one. I just wanted to make a smaller video real quick to give you guys something while you wait for the Disco Elysium video to come out. I apologize for the poor microphone quality. I'm recording this away from home right now, just in the interest of time. Anyways, thank you for sticking to the end, and I'll see you all in the next one.